People tend to go crazy when you mention plastic and watches in the same sentence. Mention the Moonswatch to certain people and they immediately say it's a plastic piece of garbage. Whether they're right or wrong, it's up to debate. However, the plastic watch has been around for a very long time. It was really made popular by Swatch. Of course, one of the most popular is Casio. Casio make tons of plastic watches, rubber watches, and all different materials, but a majority of it is rubber or plastic. Today we're taking a look at a polycarbon watch from D1 Milano, and this is a specific watch that I wanted to review because of the look of this watch. It's their sketch watch. Basically, it's meant to look like a drawing of a watch that's on your wrist. They're not the only company to do this. However, I think they're one of the first to come out with a sketch watch. G-Shock recently came out with, I believe it was a Japan-only version, and that was a sketch watch as well. They did it in a few different colors. Those sold out very quickly. This watch has sold out a number of times. I have one hands-on to show you guys. We're gonna talk about whether or not I think it's a piece of crap or something that you can actually use on a daily basis. So let's flip the camera and take a look at a polycarbon sketch watch from D1 Milano. I first saw this watch on the wrist of Instagrammers. I was browsing Instagram and I saw this watch on a few different wrists and I was kind of intrigued. I wanted to check it out in person myself. So I went to their website to buy one and of course it was completely sold out. They didn't have any of the white or the black at all. And eventually I was able to buy one after clicking a few times. They kept on targeting me on Instagram with ads and I eventually purchased one. This is it. I actually purchased it at a discount. $175 is what I paid. I got a 15% off coupon when you sign up with an email, so that's what I paid for this. These are going on eBay for a lot more money than that. I've seen them sell for $400 and $500. Now that they're available again on their website, or they may not be anymore, I have no idea, these will be selling for less money on eBay, hopefully. This is a watch made out of polycarbon. And we're going to get back to that in just a few minutes. However, I was influenced by influencers on Instagram to buy this watch. And I did pay under the retail, so I am happy about it. I'm not too incredibly bent out of shape over this purchase. This is a plastic watch. The polycarbon, what they call polycarbon, is basically plastic. And it has a coating on it, and they call it a soft touch coating. And I believe that's sort of sprayed or printed onto the top of the watch. And I'm not sure what that material is actually made out of, but the only way I could describe it is, you know the buttons inside of a cheap car? They spray it with a plastic to make it grippy and eventually that plastic comes off. That's what this feels like. So I would imagine eventually with wear and tear, the plastic coating will come off. The sketch of this will come off. They make this in black and they make it in white. The black version is no different from the white version, except of course the white version has a black sketch and this has a white sketch on a black background. So that's the only difference. And basically the dials are exactly the same. Again, the only difference is the color. This is a very light watch. It weighs only about 49 grams. That's with all of the links. There are metal portions of the watch. So the butterfly clasp is in stainless steel, I believe, and it's coated. And then you have a case back that is in stainless steel as well. The crown is actually plastic. The push pins are metal, of course. And then you have a mineral crystal. So you do not get a sapphire crystal with this watch at that $200 price point. That is a little bit disappointing. However, this is a fun watch. That's what I would call it. It's not a watch that you're buying for serious use. This will not last. It is made out of plastic. However, you also have a plastic bracelet, so that bracelet will break down over time. I would sort of liken this to the Moonswatch. However, I would say that the Moonswatch is a higher quality than this watch. Also, you know what it's actually made out of. They're calling this polycarbon. That polycarbon is plastic. That coating, we don't really know what that is, and it sits against your skin. While the Moonswatch is made out of bioceramic, it's made out of ceramic and it's made out of plastic. They tell you exactly what it's made out of, and there is no bracelet, so there's not a lot of surface area actually sitting against your wrist. But that Moonswatch costs $270, $269, somewhere in that neighborhood. Well, this watch costs $195 or $199. But with that being said, it is a fun watch. It's a really fun watch because it is a conversation starter. There are people out there, when you wear something like this, are going to stop you and ask you questions because it is weird. Obviously, D1 Milano make a lot of watches that are homages to the Royal Oak, and this is no different. This looks like a sketch version of a Royal Oak, and it actually works better when it's made like this, when it's made out of plastic and has this white sketch on it, or black sketch, depending on which one you get, because it looks less like an homage and more like the original, kind of, in a way, than it normally would. I don't know if that makes sense, but there are a few watch brands that are coming out with this sort of theme for their watches. G-Shock just recently did one. I think it was only a Japan-only version. I really wanted that watch as well, and I don't know why. I think they just look cool. But again, I would caution people for a couple of reasons here. This is not an everyday watch, so do not buy this thinking you're buying an everyday watch, number one. Number two, I don't think it's a watch that I would wear very often, especially if you're going to sweat and things like that, because I'm not sure what this is actually made out of. And if you go on their website, there's not a ton of information on what that coating is and if it's safe against your skin. If it was just plastic, still not all that great, but that coating kind of worries me. Very quickly, I'll throw it on my wrist, but we're going to talk about dimensions very quickly. This is a 39 millimeter watch, so it's 39 millimeters across here, so the diameter is 39 millimeters, but the lug to lug is large because you do have female end links, but they act like male end links. So this comes out to around 56 millimeters. It's much smaller at the case, but the effective lug to lug, I would say, wears around the 51 millimeter range, somewhere in that range. It's thin, it's 9 millimeters thick. You're getting a Seiko quartz movement inside. Again, you're getting a mineral crystal and a polycarbon case. However, today I am wearing a watch that I intentionally wore for this video because this watch, this automatic dive watch with 200 meters of water resistance, ceramic bezel with a dive bezel, actual ratcheting bezel, an automatic Seiko movement, comes in at around $260 on this bracelet. But if you get it off the bracelet on a strap, it comes in just around $200. I think it actually might be under $200, and you get incredible lume on top of all that. If you spend a little bit more money, you get a beautiful shark mesh bracelet with micro adjust, on the fly micro adjust. So this is a great summer watch. It's very colorful. It's sort of in the same vein as the D1 Milano, obviously totally different designs, but it's a light summer watch that's fun to wear. And this one is very functional. It gets 200 meters of water resistance rather than the 50 meters of water resistance than you get with the D1 Milano. But I could see why both are appealing. There it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. You can see this is an odd looking watch. It looks very odd on my wrist. It's a sketch watch, that's the point. So when someone sees it on your wrist, they're really not going to understand what they're looking at. It looks like a drawing of a watch on your wrist, and this has become popular. There's a few watches out there that look like this now. You have a thick bracelet, so the bracelet is kind of thick, so it does wear a little bit thicker than maybe a metal bracelet or their traditional metal bracelets from D1 Milano. But there you go. I think it looks really good, and it is definitely a conversation starter. This is a 39 millimeter watch. That lug span does not bother my 7.5 inch wrist. I think it would work for smaller wrists as well, and obviously larger wrists. There you go, $195. There is no lume on this watch, so we will not do a lume shot. I think the conclusion here is it's a fun watch if you're not going to wear it on a regular basis. Number one, because it won't last because of that coating and because it's made out of plastic. So very similar to the reasons that you get for the Moonswatch and why that's not an everyday watch. The same reasons apply to this watch, but actually I think a little bit exponential compared to the Moonswatch because the bracelet is also made out of plastic and you have a coating on here. Because of that coating, I'm not sure what you're actually absorbing into your wrist, so I would be a little bit worried about that. I need a little bit more information on the coating that they're using on this watch. I didn't really even realize there was a coating. So does it, I guess, live up to the hype that I felt when I saw it on Instagram and places like that? Yeah, I guess it does live up to the hype. Physically, you know, the look of it, it does, but quality-wise, you know, obviously I wasn't expecting a lot for $195, so it's where I think it should be in the realm of pricing. It's just that coating that I'm a little bit worried about. Other than that, it's not bad. I think it looks good, and I think it's a conversation starter. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Right now they have them in stock, or as of the time I'm making this video, they have sold out of these many, many times. And again, with good reason, because it is a quirky, weird watch for a pretty good price of $195. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.